It's right past 100 degrees. 45 minutes now on the clock, starting to get a headache. Today, more than 60 kids got to take home a free lunch from the library off of Dorchester Road. Last month, protesters walked up these stairs and into the Charleston County School Board meeting. Now, once they got inside here, they started protesting that the district needs to do something to educate their kids. Staring at 6 screens for 12 hours at a time sounds exhausting, right? Well, toss in getting calls constantly. With so many complaints for late buses, I wanted to see how late the bus was myself and see if the kids would get to school on time. It's now past 8:30. The first bell has rang at Wando High School and class is starting. This bus is still 4 miles away. A teenage girl walks down the hall, sees a boy standing near the bathroom. She tries to walk by when he pulls her into a stall, pushes her on the floor, gags her and ties her up before proceeding to force her to have sex. This didn't happen at a party. A teenage girl told North Charleston police it happened inside her school walls.
So any school district in this state, any school or school district in this country, one is too many.
But there's more than just one. Over the last 3 years, Low Country schools reported a combined 156 sexual assaults and 16 rapes to the State Department of Education.
Once we know that there's an issue, address it immediately and have the supports in place so that that student gets the help they need over a continuous amount of time rather than us looking at a data sheet later and seeing what could have been.
Ryan Brown works with the South Carolina Department of Education.
And if anything rises to the level of criminal conduct, it should be reported to law enforcement.
But when it comes to law enforcement responding to these incidents, our investigation shows the numbers don't add up. I asked local sheriff and police departments for the numbers and found only about 25% of cases reported to the State Department were also reported to law enforcement. But the police reports that do exist paint a grim picture. At Dunston Elementary, a little girl told police she was sexually assaulted in the bathroom by another student. Another Dunston parent told police her son was sexually abused by his teacher assistant.
Especially in the nature of sexual assault, we want to make sure everybody's safe.
Michael Reidenbach oversees the Charleston County School District Security Department.
What we do is make sure that all the students are separated, that they're safe, and the situation is contained.
What comes next depends on how serious the incident was. One report describes a student getting assaulted 2 separate times inside of a classroom at Stall High School.
So anytime a situation happens on our campus, it's criminal in nature, but by law we're also required to report anything on campus where somebody or their property was hurt or may have been hurt. We want to get law enforcement immediately involved so they can launch an investigation.
Reidenbach says not every sex incident is directly reported to law enforcement. For example, if 2 kids are caught having consensual sex, it's not breaking the law. That may partly explain why the law enforcement numbers don't match up.
If we call an SRO, they're just walking down the hall to us. Unless that incident rises to the level of an incident report requiring documentation in a formal incident report, it may not be reported in the numbers that are coming to you.
Charleston County Schools has reported more sexual assaults and rapes to the state than any other district. 108 sexual assaults and 12 rapes total over 3 years. Is it alarming that CCSD has had more sexual assaults than any other district?
So as I said, anytime we have one incident, it's too many, so that would be considered alarming.
They say it's not just a school issue.
There are issues outside the school walls, and our schools are a reflection of our society. No doubt, we're going to act, and we're going to take measures to make sure we can do what we can.
He says parents in the community have to step up too.
And you can never tell a parent not to be concerned, right? We're always going to be worried about our kids, where they are, and what they're doing. But when we look at the risks that our kids face on a day-to-day basis, the schools are truly the safest place they can be during the school day.
In Charleston County, Colby Satterfield, My 5 News. Getting to and from school sounds easy.
No answers, nothing.
You wait at the bus stop, get picked up at a certain time, and come home right after school.
Consecutively late.
But Christina McCarthy says that's not happening for her daughter.
It has caused her to have to stay after school and to make up numerous tests or quizzes.
And McCarthy says it happens a lot.
So one of the days it was pretty cold outside and she was standing outside for over 45 minutes waiting for her bus to get here.
Her daughter goes to school in Mount Pleasant, and she says the bus isn't a reliable way for her daughter to get to and from school. She's not the only parent concerned about this. School officials calculate the time missed when the bus is late. So far this year, that adds up to nearly 7,000 hours of missed class time.
They're not in school to get their learning, and by the time they get to school, they're trying to just wrap their head around what's really going on, and it takes them a while to get into the day.
That doesn't account for the days kids miss school altogether because a bus never shows up.
And I go to work extremely early in the morning, so I can't leave work and then come back and pick her up to take her to school, so she has to miss the day.
So far this school year, there have been 3,000 bus-related complaints formally sent to the Charleston County School District.
It's extremely frustrating. It just adds a lot of stress onto the kids. It adds a lot of stress onto the parents. The safety issues of not being picked up on time or not getting home on time are, elevated at that point. So it's just extremely frustrating.
With so many complaints for late buses, I wanted to see how late the bus was myself and see if the kids would get to school on time. It's now past 8:30. The first bell has rang at Wando High School and class is starting. This bus is still 4 miles away. Jeff Scott is the transportation director for CCSD. He says the nationwide driver shortage is to blame and says one area is feeling the brunt of it.
The driver shortage issue is a Mount Pleasant right now issue with being able to get drivers in that area. The rest of the county is actually running very smoothly.
To manage the driver shortage, Scott says they've got a few things in the works.
There's a few things we've done to work to help them service our students. One is we put out a supplemental bus contract to have another company come in and supplement Durham services. Coastal Bus Line was awarded that contract last week, and they took over 3 routes this morning.
Durham is also working with the district by having new drivers spend their first 30 days of training on Mount Pleasant routes.
For them, a lot of it has to do with where you live and where you work. Not everybody is going to stay with your company if they live in Goose Creek, and you're going to have them commute to Mount Pleasant on a daily basis.
But McCarthy is skeptical.
I've read their promise statement on their website back to them and said, you guys promise reliable, safe transportation for children, and you're not providing that service. So how are you going to fix this? And again, I get the same answer. There's nothing we can do about it.
In Charleston County, Colby Satterfield, Live 5 News.